Greetings and welcome to another episode of Tell It Like It Is. I'm your host Morris, man, and my co-host.
Joseph Spencer.
And today we're going to do two topics. The first one is, because they tie in together, the first one is cameras in the courtroom. Yes or no? Are they necessary? How are they beneficial? The second topic is high-speed police chases. Are they necessary? Because lately high-speed pursuits have gotten innocent people killed. So is it that important to apprehend or chase a petty criminal and kill someone who had nothing to do with it and then blame it on the guy you're chasing? Because in Chicago, they just had courtroom TV of this young 22-year-old guy who's basically a petty thief, and the police is in pursuit of him, and in the process of trying to apprehend him, they killed someone, and they charged him with the murder. And it's unfortunate because I look at it this way, and I'll make it short because I'm going to let you chime in. They showed this young man, getting his verdict, and they giving him an additional 15 years for that. And it's sad because we talk about this all the time. The root issue for our young black men is they don't have men in the house to take care of them. Their mothers didn't marry their fathers like your father did and mine's back in the era we grew up in. And, and that's just a household full of women trying to raise a man, which is almost impossible because a man has to raise a man, not a woman. And when they panned over during the court hearing, unfortunately, they showed his family, and they consisted of none but women. His mother was there, perhaps an auntie and sisters, and then it was a little child, a little girl. And nothing stresses me out or saddens me quicker, Joe, than to see a child in distress. Because I'm sitting here looking at this little girl sitting in a courtroom for a murder trial, and a burglary trial when she should be somewhere playing. It's unfortunate that, that she was there. And also, I'm looking at this and I don't see a man in the audience. I don't see his daddy in the audience. I don't see an uncle in there because there was no man in his house. And we talk about this all the time. That's the real problem. And I'm going to say this and then let you chime in. We got the mayor of Chicago who's running for another term, and then we have some people just running, against him. And the mayor and another person that's running against him make this same statement. And it's just unfortunate that how out of touch they are with the public in reality, because they both make this claim, and you've heard this before, Joe. I heard it a million times. If I'm elected or reelected, I'm going to put 1,000 cops on the street. The problem is not that the city is police deficient. The problem is the city is job deficient. If you put jobs out there in the communities for these young guys, they won't commit as many crimes. Crime will automatically go down because crime is the last alternative, not the first choice for most people. When they run out of other options, they fall back on that, the last option, which is crime. So it's unfortunate that we live in a day and era that people just still don't get this. It's not about putting more cops on the street. It's about putting more jobs on the street so these people stop committing crimes. But I'll turn it over to you and give your insight on this.
Crime is too much work. First, you got to find the goods to steal. You got to steal it. You got to get away with it. Then you probably got to flip it. A job, you go to the job, you work 5, 6 days, 7, whatever, and you get your check, you go home.
Yeah. So what do you think about the cameras? Should there be cameras in the courtroom?
I think it's a sensational.
Yeah.
We live in a reality world.
Yeah, it's a television. I mean, we try to make everything out of a television show here. It's like, what's going to be next? We're going to turn on our TVs and see murders?
Yeah.
I think that's a private situation. It should stay private. I don't get any benefit out of watching this young man lose basically his life, because this is how I look at it. I'm in my 50s now, and you're the age you are. And I can say this because I'm at the stage of my life that I can make this statement. The best years of your life, for the most part, is in your 20s up until your 40s.
Yeah.
Because by the time you start to get in your late 40s, you start having major problems, health issues. And then when you get in your 60s, you have more issues, and you might even have surgery. And when you're younger, you're on the upcline as opposed to
On the decline.
Right, when you get in your 50s, and I'm not trying to sound negative, but everything's kind of going, you're declining. You're not regenerating. People that go into nursing homes, that's their last stage of life. They're not getting better and leaving and going back to work. So it's unfortunate that this man, the best time of his life or the best years of his life are going to be taken away from him because there was no father in the household to raise these men. And I don't blame I'm not pointing blame at one specific group. It's collectively they're at fault. These women need to stop having babies with these guys that they're not going to have committed relationships with. These guys got to be taught that you shouldn't be spreading your seed all over the city, and you're not going to plan to settle down and take care of your children and have a vested interest in their development. It's just a sex game. I'm trying to get me
Sex
something.
game.
I'm trying to get out of here.
That's a good. That's a good.
Yeah.
It's a sport.
But again, it falls back on your upbringing because we mentioned this in another show. If you were to pull a kid off the street right now and say, in the '60s, pull a kid off the street and say, draw your family structure. That person, the child will draw mama, daddy, and themselves. And you ask the child in 2015 to draw the family structure, black family. That child will draw mama, themselves, and then grandmama. Because now grandmother is the new father. I coined the phrase a surrogate father, which is grandmother now. She then stepped out of her role of being a traditional grandparent and now playing daddy to her grandkids, which is ridiculous. We need to pull back and get that structure back that we had, that a mother, a father, committed relationship, here comes the babies. As opposed to I'm kicking it with this guy for a year or two, I'm having babies, he gone. I'm back at my mama's house and she helping me raise my child.
There are women that just completely drop their kids off on their mothers.
Yeah, and they allow that.
I've seen that.
Yeah, because unfortunately sometimes I see this. There comes a time when your kids leave. I got married, I left my mother's house, started my own family. She encouraged that. She was not trying to lay a guilt trip on me or keep me there, because that's the thing now. I don't want to be lonely by myself. Find a companion yourself, as opposed to using your kids now as to take up your time and taking away from their development.
You see, you were blessed that your mother was independent. My mother, she tried to teach us that we were nothing without her,
But she still took care of you. She wasn't trying to keep you there and not let you allow to grow.
She was trying to keep us there.
Well,
I don't mean to get off.
yeah, I know, but different families have different structures. But, it's nothing like today. Because, today, these women are still out there partying and dropping their kids off at grandmama's house. It's like, that era is over, baby. The disco thing is done for you. You 40-something years old and you still out there at the club.
Yeah, 40-something, man.
And your kids are with your mama at your mama's house or with mama because you live with mama too. But again, we're not picking on the women because it takes two to tangle. Unfortunately, these young women have not been raised properly neither because they didn't have their father in the house. And these young guys didn't have their father, so therefore they get together and create chaos as opposed to a mature, responsible household. But let's move over to the next topic. The next topic is high-speed police chases, and it ties in with just the topic we talked about because, again, that man now, young 22-year-old man that's being charged with the murder of the lady that the police squad car hit. Should we stop this madness? Because this is not a scene from a Dukes of Hazzard TV show where you're flying down the street at 100 miles an hour, your car up in the air in slow motion. This is one of the largest cities in the world, and it's really difficult to try to apprehend somebody doing 90 miles an hour with a bunch of people out there. This guy was a petty criminal, and they could have easily caught him the next day or two because it wasn't like he was a rich dude going to flee the country.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that this is what's going to probably happen. Since they found him guilty, they're going to kind of say, well, this is the norm, or it's okay for us to go out there and chase these people and kill other people because guess what? We're going to blame it on the guy we're chasing. I really don't think that that's fair.
I don't think it's fair either.
I mean,
and the family don't need it. They're suing the police.
I was just reading my mind, Joe, because I'm saying if that was my sister that got killed back with that situation, I wouldn't be extremely pissed with the guy that they were chasing. I'd be pissed at the cops.
I feel that the cops.
But let me just say this: out of defense of law enforcement officers, they out there doing their best, and they're not trying to be the bad guy, But you do have to kind of rethink about the priority. Is it that important? Because it's different if a man just killed a couple of cops or anybody. Yeah, we got to get him off the street today, But petty criminals, snatching and stealing stuff, killing somebody else in pursuit of this guy that they probably can catch in another day or two.
I truly
don't
believe
think so.
I truly believe the police had control over that situation. You know, I think they handled it wrong. Whatever they
Yeah, and they're not perfect because again,
Right.
we're not trying to give law enforcement a hard time because they're
Robert,
heroes out on the
I'm
street.
just a citizen, and I've saw stuff where my adrenaline went up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm quite sure if you when I was in the middle stuff, personal stuff, my adrenaline go up, and you handle stuff differently. You know.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm quite sure a lot of police officers when they see something go down, say, let's get this sucker. The nerve.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I mean, like you said, the adrenaline is pumping. Sometimes you don't make rational decisions. You know, it's unfortunate, but I do believe they need to kind of revisit that to say,
Yeah.
is it that important to catch this guy and kill someone,
Yeah.
as opposed to we're going to catch him in a day or two because
they could have drove their car in the accident. Their car could have went through a business or something,
Yeah.
a restaurant, anything,
Yeah.
daycare center, anything.
Yeah. And another point I want to make before that thought gets away from me is we were talking about the cameras in the courtrooms.
Yeah.
And that whole camera thing in war, these journalists are going over there and getting their head chops off. And a lot of people don't realize that journalism is a very competitive industry.
Sure is.
And it's not like these guys really had a big choice because a lot of people are like, well, they volunteered. They volunteer for the most part because if they don't take that assignment, their coworker going to get an award, get his job. So you're kind of forced to do that. But before journalists were going out there and taking these pictures, it was military officials.
Yep, they're military, yeah.
Right. It wasn't laymen running out there with cameras
With
because
cameras.
this is a war. This is not a scripted movie.
Yeah, I've seen the cameras the military used to use
Yeah.
during World War II.
I mean, I personally don't think cameras should be involved in that anyway. It's like, I'm like, forget give me a camera, give me a rifle
Well, they
because
had that too.
I'm fighting for my life here.
They had that too.
I don't
because they
have
were
time to be
military.
running here and taking pictures of things blowing up. I want a gun so I can take care of
You know,
myself.
but it's a part of a documentary. It's a part of history.
Yeah.
Most wars are.
Yeah, but
You know,
to me, it's just more important to have a gun as opposed to a camera. Unless we've come to an agreement in war that if we see a guy with a camera, don't shoot him. But we ain't gonna come to
They
that
don't do
agreement.
that. You know
As
what?
always, we enjoy doing these, and it's about enlightening young folks
Yeah.
as far as the things that we talk about because you don't know what you don't know. And unfortunately, this is an era now, especially in the black community, that these young men don't have a father. They can't go home and get advice from a mature, stabilized adult because there's no mature, stabilized adult at home. It's just mom and grandmama. So unfortunately, until we can fix that problem, we're going to continue to have these other problems with young guys out there robbing, stealing, gang banging, and their mama can't raise them because these are men and men need men, But on that note, I'm going to sign off because we got to go.
Yeah.
Keep thinking.
Yeah. Have a good night. Be blessed.